hard to find somebody who thinks the free coffee at work is lousy, right?
Look at these guys.
But a new survey finds...
College kids, you want a job?
That's not really the case. According to a study done in August in a number of major cities, a majority of coffee drinkers find the Java at work to be tolerable. And 30% report it's actually great.
I think it's more delicious if it's free. First, President Obama this morning wins the Nobel Peace Prize. Our political panel reacts to that right after this break. Hi, guys.
They're done with their coffee.
Good morning.
Yes.
We have breaking news this morning. President Obama received some very big news of his own this morning. He was awoken to learn that he has won the 2009 Nobel Peace Prize. He is just the third sitting president to win. Is this deserved, or, as some say, is it premature? Let's take this to our panel. Journalist and former ESPN commentator Stephen A. Smith, radio talk show host and Fox News contributor Mike Gallagher, and Bernard Whitman, former pollster for President Clinton. Bernard, let me begin with you. What did you think when you heard that the president has just won the Nobel Peace Prize?
I think it's an extraordinary honor and a great moment, not only for the president, but for the entire country. And it says to me just how starved the global community has been over the last 8 years for real leadership from an American president. I think that it is more about recognizing the seeds that Obama has planted rather than sort of the full-grown trees.
Results.
Yes.
Sure. I mean, it's for his efforts. Even they said that. It's for his efforts. They didn't mention yet results. Mike, you're chuckling. What?
A for trying. Oh, come on. I mean, the man hasn't completed a full year yet. Even Saturday Night Live is spoofing how little this man has accomplished. I mean, it must be good to be the king. I guess his worldwide apology tour has worked. Now the world community has said, okay, well, we'll reward you with something. This is nonsensical, and it's great political fodder for the loyal opposition to say, once again, this Oprah president gets a non-deserved award for doing little or next to nothing.
Only Republicans can turn the Nobel Peace Prize into a negative.
Well,
I mean, come on.
Far for me to be the mediator in this to some degree. I do think it's a tremendous honor. Whether or not it's well-deserved, and I think remains to be seen. I think he's right because from the standpoint, this man was in office less than 2 weeks before the February 1 nomination deadline. So basically, you haven't done anything yet in regards to this. I just think that this is a message from the Nobel folks that, you know what, this is what we need from the U.S. president. This is a superpower. We are starving for some kind of leadership.
But what does that mean? What does that mean? What's what we need? What has he done?
What I'm saying is when you go over to Cairo and you give a speech and you make waves in terms of reaching out to the Islamic community to sort of create peace as opposed to war. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying they're being hopeful that, you know what, the United States president has made this move to really ingratiate himself with the Arab community.
So a guy who gives a speech to the Arab world is deserving of a Nobel Peace Prize.
I have to interrupt you guys. Stick around. We have a lot more to talk about. We have to take a quick break. Obviously, this debate continues. Stand by, guys. 40 days. That's how long the Pentagon has been sitting on General McChrystal's report and request for more troops. Why the holdup? The panel weighs in on this next. I have not gotten a moment's peace during that commercial break because our political panel continues to debate the Nobel Prize just awarded to President Obama this morning.
What will he do with the money? How's he going to spend the money?
$1 million?
Yeah, $1.4.
I'm sure he'll figure out something.
Good point. But Bernard, some people say that what this really is about is it's an anti-George Bush award that he was given today.
I think it's an the message that had been given out by the previous administration. Look, this is a recognition that America is the single global superpower, and we can't act like a cowboy and go unilateral. The global community respects us, but we need to have global leadership, bringing people together, not going out and sort of riding it out on our own. And I think that's fact.
Go ahead, Mike.
You guys just can't let President Bush go, can you? So that's the reason for the Nobel Prize, because he doesn't act like a cowboy, but he does act like a rock star. He does run around, jet around with Oprah. That's worthy of a Nobel Prize. Bernard, you're spinning. My gosh, you got to let George Bush go. He's gone.
I let him go. The Nobel Prize Committee has different idea.
Stephen, I want to talk about the strange juxtaposition today between the Nobel Prize award and President Obama's plans to talk about war with his cabinet in Afghanistan. It sounds as though he may be moving towards a strategy of allowing the Taliban to exist going after Al-Qaeda and focusing on Al-Qaeda?
My initial thought is that's pure insanity. I know Al-Qaeda is more of an enemy than the Taliban, but the Taliban has proven that they can't be trusted. I mean, in Afghanistan right now, you're talking about them, being in control of 1/3 of Afghanistan. You're talking about them paying people off in terms of, trying to harm or kill U.S. soldiers or what have you. Clearly, they can't be trusted. Now, I understand that you've got to prioritize in terms of who's more of an enemy than the other, but an enemy is an enemy. And when you talk about putting them in a governing position, I certainly have a problem.
There's no question this is so complicated, and no one envies the role that the president has to play on this. However, I'm a simple guy. When the plumbing goes out, I trust the plumber. When the engine goes out, you trust the mechanic. I think in a war, you trust your generals. And what President Obama has done to General McChrystal and throwing him under the bus because he simply wants, like Iraq, a surge, wants more troops for success in Afghanistan, it's dreadful. And the juxtaposition is an important one. The President Obama cannot make a decision about Afghanistan. He will not make a decision about Afghanistan. And you've got a general saying, Mr. President, please give us more troops. And so far, he's looking down at other complicated strategies like the Taliban. That's dreadful and it's outrageous.
I've got to disagree. The truth is, Afghanistan requires a political solution. It is never going to be solved militarily. And I think that the military certainly does play a role, but we need to build up democratic institutions. We need to build the community. We need to win the hearts and minds. And we're simply not going to be able to do that exclusively through the military. And the last thing I'd say is, if you have a killer in someone's house, is it more important to take out the killer or to take out the innkeeper? Yes, the innkeeper is aiding and abetting, but ultimately the real threat comes from the killer, not the person.
And we've got to leave it there, guys. Bernard Whitman, Mike Gallagher, Stephen Smith, thanks so much for coming in and doing
Thank you, Valley. Appreciate it.